Hey, Brandon,
Hey, Alan.
and welcome to Dice Over Everything, the Miniatures Gaming Podcast.
So people who take up like running, and then just like they do so much running, and you're like, dude, that's crazy. And then eventually, after like 5-6 years, they start developing knee problems. You know, a lot of people like that.
No.
Is that because
Wait, but do I?
No, not really.
Do we know anyone that we both know that has those issues?
No, not that we both know. No, I think I just probably know more.
Back issues, maybe.
Oh, from like
other
lifting,
things.
from like doing super heavy weightlifting.
No, from grabbing people.
Oh, that sport. Yes. The jujitsu people. Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know if what I was thinking more of like those people who are like taking up running, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get super healthy, and then but in reality, like, dude, you're gonna like destroy yourself, and then they just destroy themselves because they just weren't keeping their eye on the prize. Whereas I don't know if those jujitsu people are doing it for health reasons. I think they have other motivations.
No, they're
but that's
doing
not
it for the love. Yeah, it's
exactly
for the love of the game.
for the free hugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, when I was to get onto our actual Frostgrave, like we're doing the Illusionist this week, if people have read the title, and like just going through their spells and like all the complementary spells, like the thought that kept going through my mind is like, no, just keep your eye on the prize. There's so many things you could do, but you got to keep your eye on the prize. So I don't know, just going through that. That's why we'll see how that reflects on what we decide here.
Well, here's the thing. I am going to be doing an Illusionist in our coming campaign for Frostgrave. So I will see if I will have kept my eye on the prize, or if I will be like your runner friends where I just chose all the cool stuff and I'll mess up in the end and crash and burn.
Don't worry, doing 15 kilometers a day is fine. Just do it. Just go for something crazy. Do something crazy. Don't.
That's okay. If anyone dies, it'll be my
here.
It won't be me. So I can always, you can always. That's one good thing about miniature games. You can always reset and, just start again when you die.
Except this is gonna be a campaign, and it may be a whole year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know.
That's okay. I'll just start another campaign with some other people.
Okay.
And run it concurrently. Anyways, with that said, this podcast is going to be another Frostgrave 101. And this time, as Brandon has already mentioned, we are doing the Illusionist. So we are continuing our quest to finish all of the schools from Frostgrave. That's actually what I thought you were going to talk about. Like, are we going too hard? Are we doing too many podcasts about Frostgrave and we'll crash and burn halfway?
No, we're going at a good pace. So we're just going at like 3 kilometers. Good.
That's true. I think we'll make it. Yeah. All right. So as usual, we are going to go through all of the different spells of the Illusionist, and we're going to rate them with the normal, F to S. And then S tier is obviously the top. And then we will go through the other spells that you might want to take when you're starting an Illusionist, and some possible builds you could take. And like I said, because I'm going to be using the Illusionist next, I will fill in with the actual things I will be taking.
Okay. I'll try to convince you to do some crazy shit too. All right.
Just so you have a better chance of winning the campaign.
No.
I should have done that.
I don't need to win 2 campaigns in a row.
You won the last one? I've already forgotten.
Sure. As long as I keep saying I did. All right. So alphabetically to the spells of the Illusionist.
All right. The first one is Beauty. So this is one where the spellcaster casts them on themselves, and it has a TN of 10. And basically what it does is whatever you succeeded on, or a minimum of 14, whenever some other opponent's warband tries to attack the spellcaster, they have to first succeed on a willpower roll equal to the TN that you succeeded on. So if you succeeded on a 16 or an 18, they need to roll a willpower 18 to try to engage you, attack you, or even cast spells that might affect you.
Yeah, and it keeps going for the whole game too, as long as nobody dispels it. So.
Doesn't go away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Oh, one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
It does not work against war dogs, animals, or anything from the bestiary. So constructs as well.
Yeah. So at first, I wanted to just give it like a B for beauty because that's just so easy. But then, I don't know, I took it last round, and also just the fact that it keeps going round to round, like makes it so useful. It's not something that like you do it once, it's fine. Like in the beginning of like leading up to really getting into the battle, you can cast this and keep yourself so incredibly safe. And it may not go that well, but if it goes well, you know exactly like how much you might be able to avoid. So I would just give this one, I would give it an A. Like this is seriously good.
Yes, I would go A for beauty because it is just like you said, you cast at the beginning and it allows you to be so much more effective on all of your casting because you can almost move with impunity. And there are, especially in the new missions, there are so many missions where they ask you for your wizard or your apprentice to get into the middle of the feet of the board, right?
Yeah,
and you want to
for extra
you
XP
want to have
and
some
stuff
sort
like
of
that.
beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the other thing that is probably making us value it higher is we generally play with 3 or 4 people, which means there's a lot more guys that could possibly attack you.
Yeah, you can get flanked at any moment.
Yes, exactly. And having an ability not to, like, even when you make a mistake or you didn't see something, have like a backup where, they leapt near you and then they still cannot engage you.
Yeah.
That is a really big deal. So I think possibly, I don't know, we haven't really played too many like one-on-one games in the past little while. So I wonder if I think it is in between B and A, especially because as we have said many times, Animal Companion is amazing in Frostgrave 2nd edition, and there's a lot of animal companions and war dogs as well. I think the old beauty actually worked on war dogs. I'd have to go and check.
Doesn't matter.
It's slightly it's definitely worse now, right? Like remember when we said the construct army that is kind of hard to pull off, right? For the enchanter constructs, if you have a lot of them, it kind of messes around with beauty, right? Although technically the thing that you most care about, because you still don't want your wizard to be that close to enemies, is getting shot by a bow and arrow. Right?
Yeah. If you're out there casting things into the field, you don't want to get shot back in the face. So it makes
they only have like 1 willpower in generally.
It makes people think twice about even trying to line it up. Like, it's not even worth trying to line this up.
Exactly. Like oftentimes for, let's say, the elementalist that we talked about before, right? You would move your archer into a position just to see that wizard to take a shot. Well, they have to move, and then they have to make a willpower roll. And if they fail that, and there's no one else in line of sight because they move specifically to see your wizard, that guy loses his turn, right?
Yep.
So definitely, I kind of want to just call it B for beauty.
I know I did too, but then when I thought about other spells you would compare it to, I'm like, no, because you cast it before you go in. Its risk is so low.
You always want it, and it's so strong. If you took this, like for any caster as well, not just the Illusionist because it's only TN10, you're kind of happy to cast it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's an A.
All right, moving along to.
All right, Blink. Blink is a new spell for 2nd edition. It is TN12, but it has to be only cast on a guy within 12 inches, so friendly or enemy. And then if they can't, so if it's an enemy, they can make a willpower roll, and uncuttural creatures will always try to. But when you succeed on casting it, that model is moved 4 inches, but in a random direction. So, what do you think about this spell?
I think that random's not good when it comes to this sort of thing. You in Frostgrave, you want to have a plan and you want to execute the plan. What is the plan of moving a guy in a random direction? What is going on here? Like, what are you trying to achieve? So, my initial inclination, maybe I'm just comparing it to the other spells here, but I think it just falls into the C. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's an F, but it's like I'm not sure what I'm trying to do here with this.
I agree. I put it as C. Exactly what you said. It's random. You also still have to do the willpower roll, right? But it's so high to cast as well at 12, and it's only 12 inches. Honestly,
yeah, you could bring a dude closer to you. This could get really ugly. Like if a guy comes for your work, your wizard, and you cast it on him, I'll make him go away. Oh, whoops! Like I moved him closer to me.
Yep. Or if you're casting it on your wizard or something, and you move instead closer to them.
Yeah, why?
Right? Trying to escape or whatever, or an archer or whatever, a guy with a treasure. It might be totally terrible. So I really don't understand this.
Yeah, when is it good though? Like I guess that's the question of when you avoid how do you avoid avoiding an F? There has to be a reason to do it in the game. Like does this have a reason? Should we be giving this an F?
It might be an F, honestly.
Yeah, I can't come up with I really can't.
I can't think of the only reason I didn't want to give it an F is because no one takes it because it's so obviously not that good and it's so high TN. So maybe it actually is just an F because I haven't seen it in play. We have to try it out, but then whenever I take it on our one-off games, I just never cast it.
Okay,
so there probably is an F.
Okay, I don't know if there's a corner case or not, but let's say one of the guys runs their dude into one of yours that's holding treasure, who is trying to get away. You cast it into combat, and now they break apart. Like, even if you miss and you hit the wrong person, it's a spit.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. It always hits.
But you could basically get your guy out of combat, but there's better ways to get your guys out of combat.
Yeah, you can just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is... I mean, if you don't
have
leave...
They can move afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, there's the corner case, but then they may just, if you're not the one to go first, they'll just get back into your guys. So I
feel like it would be a lot better if it was literally just you get to choose.
Yeah, that's a good spell, but this is not that. So I think this might be an
Actually,
F.
It would be a real. I wonder if that was the entire thing. I wonder if it used to be you get to choose, and then it was too good,
or it's too much like Leap. It was too much like other spells.
Well, it's only 4 inches and it works on both people, right?
I know, but
it's only 12 inches. Because what's up with the 12 inches limit? This is such a terrible spell. I feel like there was 2 versions of this spell, because this is a new one, right? Yep. One was you got to choose the direction, which is why there's all these limits, and one was random, and with all these limits. Like if this was a 8 coster, and it was random, and it was unlimited distance, I would actually still think that's a decent spell. Right? Because now you can do either. It goes all the way. It's easy to cast, right? But as it is, high casting. So if you want to use this outside of Illusionist, you're not. And then it's random. Like, this is just terrible. And only 12 inches is a terrible spell.
Okay, so I'm downgrading it to an F tier,
Yeah, it's F tier.
Okay, we're done with it then.
Right.
Done.
All right, the next one is Fool's Gold. So this is a TN10. This is also a new one. I think it's actually, technically there was an old Fool's Gold, but it does something different this time.
Yeah.
So you cast it on someone in line of sight, unlimited line of sight. I don't know why Blink is limited. Unlimited line of sight, and that person has to be carrying treasure.
Could it be your own guy?
It can be your own guy, as far as I understand.
Interesting.
But they have to do a willpower roll. And so even if it's your own guy, they still have to do a willpower roll. If they succeed, if they fail, you move that treasure token 4 inches from them. So they drop the treasure token, and then it's moved 4 inches, and you get to choose. You get to
unlike
choose
the
where
last
you
spell.
move it. Yeah, it's not random. Actually, it would still probably be good if it was random. Maybe they got mixed up. Blink and Fool's Gold.
Who knows? We'll have to
That
ask.
actually makes more sense.
We'll have to ask
Fool's
before the
Gold
next
being
edition
12
comes
inches
out.
and random.
Yeah.
And then, because that would be make a lot more sense for Fool's Gold.
It would.
Instead of Blink.
It would. But that makes the spell
instead,
better.
Fool's Gold has all the benefits.
Woo! All right. Do you want to go first on this one? It sounds like you've already ranked it.
Yeah, it's an A.
Yep. So this is the one.
This is close to S, honestly. Because this is one of those things that you always want to do. Like we said, this game is about treasure, and escaping with treasure is such a big deal. Here's the thing: when you cast Fool's Gold, if they fail willpower roll, they also to pick up a treasure is an action. So if you literally just make them drop the treasure like an enemy, they're losing an action. If all they have to do is pick it up and then move, they actually just lost an action right there.
Yeah, like
you move it 4 inches as well. That's a full action. Even if it's more than a full action, it's like 3 actions.
Well, yeah, like
all you do is drag it forward, right? So so people move half the speed, right? When they have treasure. So if all you do is cast it on them, they fail the willpower roll, and you move it 4 inches directly back towards you. So they have to move towards the treasure. That's one action. Pick it up, second action, and then move another distance to get back to where they were. And most people, if you have 6 or 7, you're only moving half that. So you're moving 3 or 3.5 on your move. So you actually technically have taken more than 3 actions for most guys.
Yeah, like so much of the game involves like someone with the treasure getting rushed by your opponent, or you rushing your opponent's guy who has treasure. Then they end up fighting it out, and you want to get that treasure out of that exchange as soon as possible. Yeah. Which you're okay if that exchange keeps going, but you just want the treasure out of there, and this just lets you pull the treasure out, have someone else come in, and run off. And like you can you have your good fighter tie the guy up, and you don't have to worry about winning. Like it's amazing. You're skipping so many difficult steps of the game.
So good. The spell is really, really good, and especially when people are fighting around the treasure, you can definitely when someone's picked it up and is trying to run away, and they're fighting around it. You can use that to so good. What a great spell.
Yeah, I want to see this played. We have not used this enough lately. Like this is one of the ones that got me thinking. Keep your eye on the prize, because so far we've just been killing power. Wait a minute, no.
If this is what you're talking about with keep your eye on the prize, I have a feeling I know what your combos and shit will be. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not playing an Illusionist, but we'll see what combo I will do. All right. That one's easy A.
Next
easily
one.
High A.
Easy A. High A. All right. A+, I guess.
Sure.
The next one is Glow. So this is a TN10, and it's line of sight. And if you succeed, the guy doesn't get a willpower roll. Just all of the shooting attacks against them, though, are +3 for the rest of the game. What do you think?
It basically it pushes you into the build of taking a bunch of shooting, which, I mean, if every fight attack against the guy was increased, that would be really, really busted. This, though, on the note of eye on the prize, this isn't getting you treasure, and it's not necessarily winning you the combats, which usually get locked in combat more often than having shooting battles. So I think I'm pushing this one as a B.
Yep, me as well. For the exact same reason. I think this is kind of like the Enchanter construct thing, where if you make a specific army tailored around just spamming Glow, you could make a pretty strong force, because Glow, when you cast it on someone, it actually gives them +3 to hit and +3 damage, right? Because it's the same roll. So it's very, very strong. But if some guy gets this cast on them, they can just get into close combat,
Mm-hmm.
They can just run away, or they can dispel it, right? And so there's a lot of ways that even if you cast it on them, like it's not necessarily going to kill a guy, but it does mean it's basically a death sentence if you shoot them 3 times or something like that, right?
Yeah, if they don't run away and they start getting shot by a whole bunch of guys. Yeah,
exactly.
If you group activate with your wizard, you cast it on them,
Glow,
and everyone
and
around the
3
wizard
archers.
just
Oh
lights them
my
up.
god.
Yeah, they're probably not going to survive
is
that.
so nasty. So you could probably kill, but that's the thing, right? It's like, if you think about it like a kill spell, would you rather be casting Glow or Fireball? Right? Because Glow kills one guy, but you need extra actions from your other strong shooting guys to finish it off. Fireball doesn't necessarily, it's not as much of a death sentence, right? But it'll severely damage that guy, and possibly it might just kill them anyways, right? Plus it hits all the people around it. So I feel like Fireball, I would generally rather be just casting Fireball if I have a ranged thing. But at the same time, if you cast Glow on their wizard,
they may have to just move very far away.
They cannot get they cannot allow you to get a beat on them with an archer.
Yeah.
Right? Or Fireball. If you have Glow and Fireball, that's a pretty good combo too.
So yeah, it's usable, but I mean it's not a go-to spell.
Yeah, I think like I said, you gotta it's technically possibly a C just because you want to combo it off, but actually in general, if all it is just giving you +3 to shoot rolls for like a couple of shots, it's still decent. So I'd still give it a B.
Yep.
It's only just becomes super strong if you just tailor your army for it.
Yeah. I don't know if the Illusionist wants that or not. Anyhow.
Well, that's one of the issues with the Illusionist. We'll talk about it later. They have so many good spells.
Yeah.
All right. Illusionary Soldier. So this has changed, I believe, as well. This is a TN12. It's out of game or touch, so you can cast it. It's like a zombie, basically, except that when you cast it at the beginning, you get basically 1 extra Illusionary Soldier, or you can cast it during the game, and they appear right next to you. When you cast these soldiers, you can only have 1 on your team, but they act like exactly like the soldier, except they can't do damage, they can't pick up treasure, and you can't do an apothecary, so you can't heal someone with an illusionary heal potion.
Yeah. No fake drinks.
So yeah. But besides that, they can engage people, they can support people, they can stop people from when they're engaged and things like that. They can push people back if they win, even though they don't do any damage. So what do you think?
I think it's a solid A. Because tying people up for sure. There's so many spells where you try and cast them just to tie the guy up, and you have to succeed at the cast, and you have to use up your actions in the game. This is out of game. You don't have to waste your time during the game to make something happen. So just
for sure,
there's always spells you want to be casting every turn. And if you get an extra way of tying people up that you don't have to cast in the middle of the game, amazing. So
yep, I agree. I think these guys are amazing, and they can push people back. I was just playing a game with the fountain, the magical fountain, where if you get pushed into the magical fountain, you die.
Cool.
Illusionary Soldier is really dangerous in that situation, and it could be any kind of guy. So you could do the 6 move fight 3 guys, or 7 move fight 3 guys. Any soldier, right?
Yeah.
So really, really strong. I guess the one other thing we didn't mention is that if they take 1 damage, they disappear. So.
And they can't do damage. You said that though.
Yeah, but if you take a knight, they have an armor 13, so you still have to roll to damage them before they actually do it, right? And a knight has 4 fight. So honestly, this is kind of OP in my opinion. One of those spells where I'd be like, if this was weaker, I would still cast it. If there was no out of game, I would still cast it in game, right? So Yeah, so no out of game I feel like is probably the best nerf if I was thinking about it, but this spell is so strong. This is another A+ spell, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not even because you want to cast it in the game. It's just because extra activations deny your opponent's activations.
Guys. And if they die, you can cast another one.
I don't know. There's so many other good spells to cast. I want this out of game.
I know, that's the problem with the Illusionist. You gotta buy those books so you can get all the spells. All right, next one, invisibility. So this is TN12, and this is touch. So you have to be next to the person, or you can cast it on yourself, and you become invisible. So this is the classic D&D thing. No one can target you, but unlike beauty, you can cast spells that indirectly damage the person. So if you can cast a fireball on someone next to you or a grenade and damage them, whereas beauty, you can't even do that if you fail the willpower roll. But invisibility, there's no willpower roll because you can't see the guy.
Nope.
So, and you can cast it on even someone else that you're next to. So you can cast it on a guy, make them invisible, and have them run up.
Yep.
And you can even cast it on people who have treasure, and then the treasure becomes invisible with the guy. So what do you think about the spell?
If he gets back to touch you? I think this
if
falls
you
under...
go up to touch them.
This is one of the ones where it's like, keep your eye on the prize, play the long game. I see the best use of this as just like sending someone as a missile over towards their valuable guys in the back, like their wizard, their apprentice, who are just trying to like do shenanigans. And then you just pressure them out of their positions. Or like their guy gets the treasure and it's like, oh, he's just going to walk off by himself. No, you can't walk off by yourself when some like invisible knight is running you down. So this is one of the ones where you just set the missile off, and it just starts going towards the place where they don't want it to be. It's just amazing.
Honestly, I think invisibility is another ridiculously strong spell. So what's your rating?
Ooh, it's getting close to S, but I'm still just going A.
I think this is an A+ spell. I agree.
Yeah.
The idea of casting this on a bear in the beginning and just having the bear saunter over to your enemy's wizard is ridiculous. And if they need to, you don't even have to do anything about like if suddenly you need the bear just goes somewhere else because they can go anywhere because they're invisible.
Yeah, if you're in a fight in the middle of the board, you just like, oh, okay, I'll just reveal it and start fighting in the middle of the board. Or you keep walking over towards their wizard or the guys with the treasure. Like it's
the one thing about invisibility that is somewhat, I guess the one thing is you have to be touched, so it has to be close. But the other thing is that's actually really good is you cannot dispel this, which is a little bit weird to me because you can't see the guy.
You have to use the special spells to deal with it. Yeah. Well, there's ones that cancel everything in an area, which are more usable.
Yes. But... So there is literally the spell is so strong. There is a specific other school that has a spell just to counter invisibility. Ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad people haven't played with it in our campaigns that much lately either. It'd just be very painful.
Yep, I agree. All right. Next one, teleport. So this is a TN10. This is self only. So you can only cast this on the spellcaster. But this allows the spellcaster to move to any location within line of sight. So what do you think about the spell? Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I'm feeling like you have to be on your back foot before you cast this. So I don't feel like this is helping you win. This is just helping you not have something horrible happen. So I don't know. I like winning for my top tier spells, but and also like if you think about it, having like leap lets your guy grab treasure, then you help pull him back. Whereas like running up with your wizard to get treasure and then trying to move away with him, that is so dangerous. I mean, good on you if you manage to do this and then have enough extra activations to cast teleport. But I don't know if that's a good game plan. So because
you have to survive one round while picking it up to teleport away.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't see good game plans that surround using teleport. but I see uses for it that could be really good. So it's in the B category for me.
I agree. I think, yeah, everything you said, I think it's B. There's just not enough active ways to use it, but it is a very strong like defensive spell, right? If someone's chasing you, which often happens, like we said, if some invisible monster is chasing you, you can just teleport away, which can be useful, right? But you can try to use it offensively, but it's way too dangerous. I guess technically you could cast invisibility, walk up, pick up the treasure, and then if you survive that one turn, teleport away.
You'd reveal yourself when you pick up the treasure. You've got to pick up the treasure, then go invisible. That's a lot of things.
That's 2 casts. You have to.
Yeah, it's too many casts.
Oh, I got it. You use Time Store with Chronomancer.
That's weird.
It's not allies.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's not working.
You need to have written scroll, then cast.
Write scroll. Time Store. Use that. Cast. Yeah. Okay, it's not working.
That's a lot of your spells to go into doing this.
Yeah.
And while you're not doing any other spells, but
All right. That goes to the last spell, Transpose. I think I've mentioned this is one of my favorite spells already. This is a TN12, so I guess that's spoilers. Line of sight. You choose 2 guys in line of sight, and both of those guys have to be within 12 inches of each other. They can be enemy, they can be friendly, they can be uncontrolled monsters. If they are enemy, they can make a will roll to resist it, in which case, it's canceled. But if they don't resist it, or you're only casting it on friendly or uncontrolled monsters, they switch spots. So, what do you think about the spell?
So often how this gets cast against me, because I'm above taking this spell. Yes.
Sure.
Sure, I'm above that. You're running away with the treasure, and then they transpose your guy who is getting so close to being away with the treasure with one of their guys, and now your guy with the treasure is on their side of the boat, near all their dudes, getting his ass beaten. And it's awful. It's just enraging. It happens over and over too. You think you have the treasure,
pretty awesome,
and then all that work you put in just reversed. Any spell that makes you incredibly angry when people cast against you obviously is good. So do you want to give the grade that rage-inducing spells are worth?
Yeah, this is an S. This is definitely S. This might be the strongest spell in the game, in my opinion, because it's also so versatile. So if you're just using it offensively, it's actually very strong. But you can also use it defensively, as in you have your fast-moving guy move up, grab the treasure, and then swap it with another one of your guys. Let's say a knight. Suddenly your knight has moved 12 inches forward, and your crappy thief has moved 12 inches back.
It sounds like you're being a nice guy. You're being a nice guy. You should just send a bear to them instead. You didn't even pay for that bear.
Bear is faster. I'm saying knight because often knights tread behind. So when they get swapped, it's a huge deal. And it's pretty awesome. So that by itself seems amazing. And then on top of that, you can do with enemies. And then on top of that, you can do it on uncontrolled creatures, and for some reason, uncontrolled creatures just allow it.
Just don't even
all the other spells, if you do it on an uncontrolled creature, they contest it. Transpose is the only one where they're like, oh, sure,
whatever.
Let's teleport. It's so ridiculously good. This spell is broken. I feel like this is another one that needs a nerf. The quickest immediate nerf is at least uncontrolled creatures should be able to contest it.
Yeah, you can't just send the creatures over to your opponent.
Yeah, especially you could send the strongest uncontrolled creatures, because oftentimes they have high willpower, so you won't be able to blink them. But for some reason, you can transpose a greater demon with willpower 8 into the opponent's lines, and you're just sure, this is pretty amazing. I actually used this in in the same game that I was using, I don't know, something else, and yes, I don't know, it's just so good. I basically just kept on sending monsters to my enemy, which they killed.
Yeah, well, okay, that's not so bad for them, but
yeah,
spell makes me
anyways. Yeah, well, I didn't get to send any greater demons, so I don't know. This spell is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's very ridiculous.
Right.
It's one where you keep your eye on the prize and you just take the prize.
Yeah, it's the entire thing. What it you could do any kind of movement things where you're like, oh, you know what? This board state is terrible, right? I'll just transpose these guys, and now suddenly it looks great, right?
Yeah.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really fun as well when you're playing in a three-person game, and then you transpose the one guy of one side with another guy of another side, so they both are fighting opposite. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun, and it's so strong. Oh, what a great spell. And it's great for escaping. It's just an amazing spell.
Yeah, it's a little too great compared to the other spells.
I agree.
All right, so that concludes our takes on the Illusionist spells. There were a lot of A's in there, like a lot. Anyhow.
Yeah, and an S too.
Yeah. My God. Okay.
All right. So the next thing is the three aligned schools are Sigilist, Soothsayer, and Thaumaturge.
Yep.
So what is your loadout? What spells were you interested in on each of these?
So for Sigilists, the ones that really came to mind were either Absorb Knowledge, because it's
always good.
It's out of game. Why not just get some free XP going on? I should probably actually pull this up. And the other was Explosive Rune, because as you may have noticed from all the Illusionist spells, they don't really have a good shooting spell. But I mean, they're good at moving around. So kind of the Explosive Rune means you could get some hits in on people without having to actually target them directly. So those two were the ones I was leaning towards. What were you like? What would you aim towards?
Yeah, those two were good. I like those. I think Push is always a strong spell.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a lot of terrain where people are on the second floor, because that can be an instant kill spell too, where you just push them into the air and they fall to their death. And when you it's just overall, a decent spell, useful, easy to cast. The other one is Right Scroll, because this is another one that is always useful. It's out of game, and it can allow you to use spells that are that you're not really good at, right, in the game.
Yeah.
Right. So you can write a scroll of, let's say, something like we talked about the Chronomancer one, right? If you want to take that, you could, instead of trying to cast it, hard cast it, you take Right Scroll, and if you fail, then you auto cast it, which is great.
Yeah,
so
it lets you build. It lets you build things. Yeah. It lets you build things that you would think were impossible. Yeah, I might almost agree with you on that. Which then you can almost take any. It changes all your other possible choices if you take Right Scroll. So.
Right Scroll, and then you could even take Strike Dead, which is generally terrible because it's TN 18. If you're taking it, you need to take Right Scroll, or because otherwise you need 10 levels to make Strike Dead useful.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So those are all the ones for Sigilist. How about Soothsayer? What other spells have you thought about?
Ooh, so Soothsayer has some decent ones. They're also dirty, like Mind Control, because who cares that if it's out of school for having your TN 12 plus 2, you want to roll high to win on this.
That's true. And TN 12 plus 2 is actually not too bad to cast, right?
Yeah.
You're probably going to reduce it a couple, maybe but that still makes a very, very decent spell to cast for sure.
Yeah, I mean, your opponent's going to think you're really dirty when you do that. It's just kind of gross. The other is Reveal Secret. The other, staying along my thought process of keep your eye on the prize, is Reveal Secret. Because I'm just feeling like you're going to get a lot of treasure because you're just so efficient at taking treasure in certain builds that when you've got that treasure, well, I mean, you're going to get a treasure, which is all that really matters. But now the treasure that you get 2 rolls on it, and now you're going to have a really nice treasure. So
fair enough.
It's out of game. So yet again, you don't have to there's so many good spells you want to be casting in the middle of the game as the Illusionist. So anything you can do out of game with an Illusionist, I feel is just money.
Fair enough.
Any ones you'd add?
Yes, Wizard Eye. Wizard Eye is really strong, and the reason why, well, it's because you don't use Transpose. When you get Transpose, so here's the thing with Transpose. You need to not only see one guy, you need to see both guys at the same time to hit Transpose. And so Wizard Eye can really help you with seeing those two things at the same time to cast your amazing transposes. So to me, this is one of those things for combos that is really strong, specifically for transpose. Now it does take, that extra setup, but to me, great spell.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you want to go heavy on the transpose, that's the way to go. I usually think
I do. It's the strongest spell in the game, and it's so fun.
Yeah, I usually think Wizard Eye is more like a caster that wants to be doing a lot of shooting spells, and you just want to hide behind your wall. Whereas the Illusionist doesn't really do as many of the shooting spells, except that transposing BS.
Yep. Or you can do teleport. So you can teleport behind walls if you have a Wizard Eye.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep. All right. And you can also, anyways, it's just a great support spell. All right, the last one is Thaumaturge.
All right, so the ones that came to mind for me were Blinding Light, because you also we haven't talked about a good shooting spell here yet, but Blinding Light's at least gonna, they're not gonna die, but they're gonna have, they're not gonna be shooting back at you if you succeed, and they're not even able to, the fight's down to 0. And the move is nothing. So they're probably not going to be fighting you. So it effectively takes them out of action without killing them. So I'm feeling
it's a great thing to follow up with transposes. Sometimes transposes gets you out. And then, man, everything is about transpose.
Okay.
So you can move the guys around, switch it up. And sometimes you might want to, when you do that, maybe you might end up biting off more than you can chew. Just blinding light that guy and then run off. Great spell.
I feel like you're flying by the seat of your pants here. The other one that came to me, actually...
No, transpose. Everything supporting transpose, and you'll be fine, because transpose is just such a strong spell.
I'm not going to adjust my build to take this thing that makes spells more difficult to cast. I definitely wouldn't do that. Anyhow, the other one that came to mind, though, is Shield. Which, hear me out here, is because you're going to want to try and send soldiers across the board at them, possibly invisible ones or that. And because you want to just get some buffs going in your guys before they start going out. Shield seems like a good way if you're taking your man-at-arms, you're taking your knights, possibly making them invisible, possibly transposing them into enemies. If you've got an even buffer version that can take less damage, I see that working nicely with your transpose and your visibility.
Shield is always a good spell. The other two, I guess the other ones are just always good. Dispel, always useful, always good. It's you're never going to have you're never going to be sad that you have Dispel in your back pocket, because sometimes it will just win you a game or not win you a game. Stop you from losing a game. If someone mind controlled your most important guy, right? Dispel that stuff. And then the other one obviously is Heal, just because Heal is again a spell you never are sad for having, especially at TN10. So you're casting it relatively easily. You can heal yourself when you try to when you failed the spell last time, and let's say you cut yourself for 3 or 4, then you can follow up that with Heal and still not die to a Swift Breeze.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I think you might be getting me on this Dispel one. Okay. The other ones are
and then the last one, this one is only specifically because of the campaign we're going to play. I think I'm actually going to end up taking Circle of Protection.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which allows you to cage in demons and undead in a circle that goes away on a 1 to 3. And the reason is because we're going to play one with a lot of demons, and I think it'd just be cool.
Neat.
I might not end up taking it. We'll see.
Okay. It's a way to go.
All right.
So from the four aligned schools or 4 neutral schools?
4 neutral schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll go first this time.
Sure.
So fog is obviously always good. Control and not control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fog.
Do we want to start with Chronomancer? Do we want to go alphabetical or not?
Nah, just go
sure.
talk through all of them. So for me, fog is always good. It stops people from, casting spells at you. If you're not taking beauty, then it's just always useful, right? Wall is somewhat useful. It's a little bit harder to cast, so but especially if you're doing transpose shenanigans, wall is really good to then cut people off.
Your apprentice
so you can run someone to a weird spot, and then you can transpose them, and then your apprentice can wall them off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other one that I really like though, are Ray Zombie, because just more guys, more better. This is the thing where, like, if an illusionary soldier having an extra guy is good, why not 2 extra guys?
Yeah, that was one of mine for sure.
More transposed targets.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, which is probably also one I'm going to end up taking, is Curse, because it's TN8. And can you guess why? So when you cast it on a guy, it auto goes off and it gives them -2 to their willpower rolls. So can you guess why I think I want Curse?
I mean, you could quadruple down on transposing, but quadrupling down is really sure.
Definitely quadrupling down on transpose.
You know what? I was going to encourage you to run 20 kilometers a day, so definitely quadruple down. Definitely quadruple down with your build. Don't be balanced about your approach.
All right, how about you?
So I went a totally different direction. So the 4 ones I thought were sort of tops were out of Chronomancer. I really like the idea of Fleet Feet, because you make a guy invisible and Fleet Feeted, their problems are going to happen so much earlier. And the same thing, just about having like the Fool's Gold where they drop the gold. You rush even faster, just grab it, and snatch it, and run away. Like, you don't need to be fighting, because your guy just runs off with it. So Fleet Feet stood out to me. From the Enchanter, you want to buff your guys to fight, because we're not, apparently from our spells, we're not shooting people dead here. So Strength is also one of those things you get set up before you start mixing it up. So
I see. So this is all going into your game plan of making a bear strong and invisible and just killing their wizard.
Oh, you got to the 4th one. Yeah. Animal companion. Yes. You nailed this.
Great. No, that's a great idea. Strength a bear and then send it out to kill their wizard.
Yeah, I mean, you could raise a zombie, but you'd rather get the bear for this purpose, so.
Sure. All right. With that, let's go through what build I am probably going to do. Right? So a couple of things. So there's one that I wanted to mention before I go for my actual build. Yeah. That's the glow build. So with glow, generally, you probably still want to take transpose because it's amazing. But you probably want wall and dispel, and then mind control is my opinion. And just mind control, just because it's generally more useful. It's like to just and then you probably want beauty so that you don't get killed. So you can cast your glow. Then you have mind control, so you're taking guys off the board that might attack you, and then all of your guys should just be shooting guys. And you even take generally they suck, but javelineers, and you fill that out. But that's not the list I'm taking. I'm taking just all of the strongest spells. Not all of them, because there's too many strongest spells. So obviously I'm taking transpose.
Yep.
Then I'm going to take illusionary soldier, and I'm going to take fool's gold.
Okay.
I thought about, there's arguments to take beauty, which might synergize more with going all into transpose, but just fool's gold I feel like it's going to be more fun.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit more about, changing things up to be more fun than necessarily the strongest all-in transpose guy.
Like you can do the most changing around of the board state. You're like, oh, this guy had the treasure. No, he doesn't anymore. This guy had a treasure. He's over there. Exactly. No, he's over here now. You just change the board state. Yeah.
Yep. And so because of that, I'm going to take Wizard Eye to help keep my wizard safe, and also to get weird angles on transpose, which is often fun. Mm-hmm. I am going to take explosive rune as a defensive thing. So generally I'm going to do shenanigans, but sometimes you do need some magical power especially against like undead race and things like that show up randomly, right?
Oh,
so so explosive runes will be used for that.
I thought you were just going to transpose the guy into the explosive rune.
You can do that for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't necessarily fully work because you need to cast your explosive rune on someone who's already within 1 inch, and if you don't succeed on your transpose, the guy that is next to that rune is effed.
Yeah, but only the enemies set them off. So. Really?
I thought everyone sets them off.
I was reading it before in the process of writing this, and it appears that...
Oh my god, I literally, this is one of the spells. I played a Sigilist on our last campaign, and I always thought I triggered them.
Well, that's okay. I just read it now for this podcast, so there you go.
Oh my god! Amazing!
Uh-huh.
Well,
there's a lot of words here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's even stronger than I thought. So
if any character or creature
when
that was
we
not
get
part
to
of the spell.
rating explosive rune, I'll tell you what I think. I think this is also an amazing spell.
Oh, okay then.
It used to be right next to you, so it would explode on you if they ran into it. Yep. So now that they just removed that, it's so good.
Yeah, now you really want to
it's not about Sigilists. Not about Sigilists.
It's about transposing people into explosive runes.
It's about transposing people into explosive runes. Amazing. I will be doing that. The next thing is blinding light. Mostly about slowing people down.
Yeah.
So again, transposing, doing all this kind of weird stuff, and then slowing them down with blinding light and stopping them. I do like the idea of making them drop the gold and then blinding them so they can't pick it up again.
Yeah.
And then for my 2 spells, I'm going to take Raise Zombie. Again, more guys and more transpose targets. And then Curse. Because I'm all in on Fool's Golding, transposing, and blinding lighting people.
Okay.
And it's an easy spell cast, 8, so it goes up to 12.
You've got a lot of stuff to do in game. A lot of work to do.
So the problem will be too many spells probably where I have all these spells and like it'll just all be like, oh, this is on my sheet. I could cast those, but I'm just gonna cast transpose again.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll see. So that's actually what I'm going to run. This is a very different build than the last time I ran it, but it should be fun. How about you?
All right. How would I build this? Obviously, I'm nowhere near about to build an illusionist, but I also sort of ditched beauty, even though I've taken it before with other wizards. But I guess it's actually a good non-aligned one because it's easy to roll high. So I then went with all the A's and S's after that. I didn't downgrade to no illusionary soldier.
Sure.
Just go fool's gold, invisibility, transpose.
Sure.
And then from there,
strong.
I would actually, for the sigilist, go with absorb knowledge because, like I said, keep your eye on the prize. Just get that XP, just boom right there.
Sure.
Less work to do in the game as well.
Sure.
Then over to Soothsayer, I would go with Mind Control because we're just here to induce rage in our opponents as an illusionist, apparently. Yeah. You said you were going to take that too, right?
I decided no. I took Wizard Eye.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All
I
right.
would take mind control with if I was going to use glow.
Let's see. All right. And then over to Thaumaturge, you convinced me I actually want Dispel. Because if your opponent sets something up like their own mind control or just like walls where you absolutely can't have them, or I've taken Dispel before and it's just like fixed some serious problems. So you convinced me to take Dispel. And then you already guessed what I would do for building the missile is
Uh-huh.
go with the witch, get that animal, take the animal companion,
With the
get a
bear.
roll up the bear, and then go with the enchanter spell of strength. Because even if it's not the bear, you're going to put strength on. Like somebody else, you might want to swap. You might want to do a swap with some guy who's even stronger, so he can fight his way through a whole bunch of dudes once he's swapped further up the board. And just like your whole goal of like fool's gold as well, you run over with some guy who's good at fighting, start punching the dude. Maybe you don't kill him, but you just pull the treasure off. So you can send like crummier guys rather than a whole bunch of guys to do the fighting in the front.
Yep.
So that would be my build.
Sure. All right. So now for companions. So starting guys. Soldiers. I probably, because you have transpose and all these cool like moving things, I would take a Templar, just because I think Templars are generally better than knights.
For specialists.
But I would make an illusionary soldier knight.
Yeah.
Or I'd either do an illusionary soldier knight or treasure hunter. So, but I would generally do a Templar, and then probably a barbarian, just because he moves quickly. So again, for transposing, but also hitting hard. And then just an archer as your last thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that right?
Was that too many specialists? I don't know.
That's too many. Too much gold. It would have to be a treasure hunter. I messed up. It's a treasure hunter, archer, and a Templar.
Okay.
And then I would probably go for more just like, so half fast guys, half tough guys. I'd possibly even go almost all, probably at the very end, ranger, treasure hunter, Templar, knight is probably what I would end up doing. All right, how about you?
I think I'd want to start off fast with some fast guys, and obviously the Templar, because the Templar is just, I don't know, Templar is just good.
Templars are just
strength,
good.
And with strength as well, like you have a two-handed weapon, and you have strength, seems good. And then the others, for the other specialist, probably a tracker. No, probably a tracker because I'm running out of money here. Because I only feel like paying 100, and I want that speed 7 to just rush up the board and grab stuff. And then after that, a man-at-arms, because I feel like I want my guy, instead of going infantryman, I want to be more durable, because we're working a lot here at just tying people up. So
yeah, and then you want to move them around and trick them and stuff like that to actually win it out.
So
for sure,
those would be my starting picks, and then later on, I just have bears. Who cares what bears? It's just bears later.
Well, bears and Templars, right? So you have like 3 guys that you can turn invisible and just start firing them at the opponent's wizard. All right. Any other kind of things that you have to be worried about? I guess the only thing is True Sight from a Soothsayer. Yeah. For the invisibility thing, where it kind of just cancels everything within 6 inches. So you can't necessarily do your bear. The visibility still works, right? You just can't sidle up right next to the wizard. So I guess then the question is, with all those things, is there any other things that you probably need to be worried about when you're taking an illusionist?
I think if you play on a more open board with less terrain, somebody who takes a better shooting list with like the elemental ball and a bunch of like marksmen, if you have an open board and you got your group doesn't have that much terrain, man. You could. That's
what Glow and Beauty version is for. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Transpose is for heavy terrain. That's why I need the Wizard Eye to get weird angles. But if you play on open terrain, the Glow Beauty version of Illusionist, very strong.
Yep.
It's kind of one note though. I feel like it's going to be more boring.
Mm-hmm.
Although you still have Transpose, right? Glow, Beauty, and Transpose.
Yeah,
or whatever one, Invisibility or something.
I'm trying to think of other weaknesses, but I'm like, I don't know.
There's not really. It's so strong. This is so strong. So overall then, once we get to the overall rating of the Illusionist, how do you rate the Illusionist?
Well, we're not. I just said that I'm not worried about other matchups really.
Yeah.
Everything was just. There's so many good. Well, no,
Yep.
the main plan is just so good. It has an S tier spells. It has like extra A tier spells.
And then it also gets access to other like strong spells like Mind Control, although it doesn't have Fireball and some other things. But yeah. I think this might be an S.
Yeah, so
in
far
my heart right now I'm feeling like it's an S. So there is some weakness that it supports schools. Like they're not the strongest for supporting, but they have a couple of decent spells that make them useful. So like again, when you're just doing it, when you're just creating your warband, right? You're mostly looking to gain all of the Illusionist spells when you get new books, right? But your support schools still have enough spells that they're helpful to you in general, right? That you can fill out your full wizard. So I do think, I think this might be one of the strongest schools.
Well, yeah, because like every other, when I was aiming for taking, like the other out of school spells, I'm like, no, I just want out of game spells for my other schools, because there's so much, so many times you just have to be casting these main good spells. So I don't know. I think it's an S as well, just for that reason. You're like, no, I don't even need more spells. The Illusionist spells will carry me.
That's true. So we will see when we go through everything else. But this might end up being the strongest school, in our opinion, in the game. Especially if you end up picking up more of those high A tier spells in the Illusionist's roster. Like there's only one spell that I would be sad to get is Blink.
Yep.
So so
well, it's just I guess your spells are so good at getting treasure. Like as I said at the beginning, keep your eye on the prize. Like your A tier spells
and surviving. And surviving. You have Beauty and Illusionary Soldier and Invisibility and Teleport. All of those, except for Beauty, are good at more than that. More than just surviving, right? They're good at... They have other utility, plus they'll also help you survive. So it's just a strong school overall.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anyone... We've gone... This is only the fourth school. Up there. But we'll see if anyone reaches this pinnacle.
There's 10 schools. Eventually, we would have got to the one thing we thought was the strongest. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like we'll have to see if we come up with some better build that's just like, oh yeah, if you pull this combo, you'll crush anyone. But this doesn't rely on a combo. This
is just so versatile. That's the thing. It can take on everything, and it's very strong on its versatility. So this is what I was saying before, where oftentimes they've made Illusionists. Other games make Illusionists like too weak because they're all about like warping people's minds and things like this. But with the change of second edition, first of all, warping people's minds is a lot stronger in Frostgrave now. And then on top of that, there's all of this movement shenanigans that the Illusionist does that makes it, and it feels like illusory, right? So it's just great version of an illusionary wizard and illusionary magic that also might be the strongest type of spells in the game, which is crazy when you're comparing them to the outright power of Fireball. You just kind of assume Fireball's going to be up there, but
yeah, I kind of worried my warband will get its ass kicked over and over, but I'm going to get a lot of treasure out of it. Like that's how I see this going.
That's the entire thing of the version that you're doing, right? It's like, oh, I might lose the first 5 games, but I will end up having more treasure than you somehow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that is the Illusionist for Frostgrave. If you have any questions about the Illusionist, or you disagree with us, or you want to just agree with us and talk and wax poetic about how great the Illusionist is in Frostgrave, give us a shout at contact@diceovereverything.com.
Or find us on Facebook. We're Dice Over Everything.
This has been Alan.
It's been Brandon.
Bye.